This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Super J-Cast. I'm Joel Abraham, joined by Damon McDonald. Damon, you know who we've got to talk about straight up. I'm just sick of listening to his crybaby supporters. He lost. Get over it. Stop stirring up trouble. We need a peaceful transfer of power. But these nutjobs, they just won't let it go. Tetsuya Naito lost fair and square, people.
Stop storming our capital.
There's people climbing into the Tokyo Dome. They're sitting in the ring, refusing to leave. Someone's taken one of the IWGP titles away.
Right. They're sitting at Red Shoes' desk. It's unbelievable. How could they allow this? It's anarchy. Yeah, that was a fun day yesterday. Ooh, yeesh. Embarrassing day. What the hell it was.
Actually, I've heard a conspiracy theory that it was actually a false flag from Noah fans. So don't believe everything you read, Damon.
You're in on the inside dude. Inside dude. What did I just say? The inside poop. Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah.
Should we just talk about Wrestle Kingdom? I don't have the energy for it.
I know what it is. It's just I can't believe what I saw yesterday. I just can't believe what I saw. But there we are. We all know the news. My country is in shambles, is what it is. So yeah, I think this podcast will be focused on, and thank God, will be focused on Wrestle Kingdom and all the greatness that we saw over the past 3 days. Let's be honest here, 2 days. We saw greatness in 2 days. We didn't see a lot of greatness on that show. But that was what we were looking for. That's what we were hoping for. So I'm excited for today's show. It's always a very popular show. Our post-Wrestle Kingdom wrap-up. This is our first one that we've done with both of us at home, right? Usually I'm fucking hungover in some hotel room, whispering, trying not to make too much noise. Now I can be as loud as I want. I'm in my own home. Why am I speaking like this? Joel, drive the bus, but I'm sure we're talking Wrestle Kingdom all day long.
Yeah, let's get straight into it. I just want to know what your overall thoughts were on Wrestle Kingdom, because I did a little Twitter poll and I asked people, how it affected their enjoyment in New Japan, because a lot of people were on the fence, a lot of people a bit wary about the direction of the company. So I got 600 odd votes. 90% of people still love the product, and 25% overall said that Wrestle Kingdom managed to win them over. So did you feel the same way? Do you think this was a return to form from New Japan?
It was something that everybody wanted, right? Everybody wanted to see. I think everybody was nervous. I don't think there was an eyeball watching that wasn't at least a little bit nervous of how were reduced crowds going to look, feel, how is it going to, are they going to make enough noise? Is it just going to sound like a mausoleum? Two, honestly, and I think lots of people would agree that New Japan, from an in-ring quality perspective, if that's what gets your rocks off when it comes to New Japan, may have taken a bit of a turn for the worse. And you were hoping that would not impact your usual post-intermission Wrestle Kingdom shows, which almost always are great. So everybody's kind of holding their breath. And then we had some, new fresh talent in some of those roles. We had a storyline that seemed a little bit stale when it came to double golds. So again, going into it, there was a lot of concern. And then you add to that, Joel, the COVID situation in Japan, and there was, the show might have gone on, but they might not have had people in the building, and there was concern. I saw a lot of it. There were a lot of things that people were on people's mind. But I think at the end of the show, night one blew me away. Night one, I think, outperformed any expectation I had of under the circumstances that they had. And I thought B, the second show, was an outstanding show as well. So I don't think it won me over, but it gave me a taste of what I knew they could do. And I was proud of them for being all the workers being able to perform at that level. Excellent job. And B, the company to be able to I don't know if put blinders on is the right term, but they were able to put on a Wrestle Kingdom worthy show. If you popped on any one of those shows, Joel, and again, aside from crowd noise, which, trust me, in the Dome, there have been years where it's been just as quiet. So, and you put that on, you could rewatch it easily and not, or show a new fan, and I don't think they would miss a beat. That's you could put it up there with some of the better Wrestle Kingdoms. I really truly believe that in ring and yeah, I really do. And then the whole storyline progression with Jay White. I mean, I'm sure we'll touch on it, but what a performance by Jay White! I just an all around, all encompassing pro wrestler performance. I was left with my mouth open, stunned at how great that was. So I know we're going to get into it, but my overall thoughts were that was a home run weekend. Not weekend, but home run 3 days, we'll call it, where I couldn't be more proud to be a New Japan Pro Wrestling fan.
How are you feeling about the Double Dome thing now? Because Rob writes in and says, do you think the 2 nights of Wrestle Kingdom is too much? Whilst both are great shows that feel some matches could have benefited from less time, is Double Dome here to stay?
It's hard to go back from it, I think. Once you kind of cross that bridge and you've committed to doing it twice. And again, there's speculation of why they did it twice this year. Again, 2 houses are better than 1, especially knowing that you're going to have limited capacity. I don't know. I would agree that I prefer one night. Truthfully, I do. I prefer one night. It's a little bit taxing to carve out all that time for pro wrestling from a fan perspective. And you're right. I think there were some matches that could have used to shave off a little bit of time. I'm always a fan of one solid show. I'm not the biggest fan of 2 really good shows, which is weird because why wouldn't I want 2? But I think one spectacular card, should I say, one spectacular show, as opposed to 2. But again, I think this year was a little bit different. I can't see them going to a third like this being the standard Wrestle Kingdom main event of Double Gold. I think they would be really dumb to do that again.
Yeah, my only issue with the fact that they did it again is just the convoluted booking you get with the IWGP Heavyweight title, that they don't have confidence in any other title to headline one of the other nights, which I think they need to reassess that, because I think with the right build, if you decouple the Intercontinental title, you could easily use that to headline, or even the junior title with Hiromu Takahashi on top, which is something we'll talk about later. But I actually enjoyed having 2 shows of 6 matches rather than one 5-hour show with like 11 matches on it, where it not only feels bloated but also rushed at the same time. So I like the fact that we got two, really, I wouldn't say neat and tidy 6-match shows, but they didn't feel like a drag to me. Let's put it like that. So yeah, I don't have a problem with the format. It's just when that sort of bleeds into the booking and you end up sort of devaluing your G1 briefcase and all that stuff, that's where I've got the issue with it. But I mean, if it's making money for them, I think they could probably do with a bit of extra money coming up. So I would not be shocked if they do it again, but some fresh ideas on the table. Let's headline one of the nights with something aside from the IWGP Heavyweight title. But yeah, like yourself, I thought it was great. Real, classic New Japan Wrestle Kingdom. And I mean, let's get straight into it then. I think we'll go from the biggest match, the main event of night 2, which was Ibushi defeating Jay White in 48 minutes and 5 seconds with a Kamigoye. So he successfully retains the IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Championship. So of course we get Ibushi's big redemption here after eating the 2 losses at Wrestle Kingdom 14 and 3 defeats at the hands of Jay White in 2020, losing the briefcase in the process. So he gets his big comeback here against the odds, finally lands the Phoenix Splash. And honestly, there's not that much to say about it really from the Ibushi perspective. It's a classic New Japan Wrestle Kingdom redemption story. We all predicted, where he learns from each of his prior defeats and he gets the job done. But quite often with these Wrestle Kingdom main events, you have the glorious climax of the winner's arc, but the more interesting story is what's going on with the loser, because that's often the beginning of their own story. Like Wrestle Kingdom 9, where Okada lost and he's walking away from the ring sobbing, he's in tears. Wrestle Kingdom 12, where Naito shits the bed, and Wrestle Kingdom 14, like I said, where Ibushi took 2 L's and leaves the double gold dash with nothing. So here, I think we're in agreement, Damon. The more interesting story, like you said, is Jay White, and what I think is the death of the Switchblade character, because this match is basically Jay going through his whole arsenal of tricks. He tries to wear down Ibushi physically. Ibushi's already had that grueling match with Naito the night before, so he tries to grind him down by attacking his body, like he did in the Power Struggle match, the most recent win. And he used the same trick. He got his feet on the ropes with a near fall. Doesn't work. Gedo, he did the callback to the AJ Styles match when Kenny distracted Ibushi when he was about to do the Phoenix Splash on the top rope. That doesn't work. He also tried to go after the knee like he did in the G1 match and go for the ITO, the Ibushi tap out leg lock that worked against Tanahashi in years gone by. That doesn't work. So you see Jay getting more and more desperate, and he's using his absolute peak mind games. He's trying to bait Ibushi into slapping him and shoving the ref away, which Ibushi's done before. So you get that little thing like Jay White has been scouting him so he can low blow him when the ref gets pushed away. And then it's just a great moment where you really see Jay White starting to lose his composure. He's driving Ibushi into the apron and the guardrail. He's like, fuck you, Ibushi, fuck you, Ibushi. And it's like he realised it's going to take a lot to put away Ibushi. He tries for the German suplex on the apron, but he ends up getting swan dive German suplex into the ring. And he's like, he goes into survival mode. He's wide-eyed and desperate. He's looking at Gedo. He's saying to Gedo, what should I do? What do I do? Because none of his tricks are working. And it's like he realises he's out of his depth. Maybe he is fighting against the god here. And just that critical moment of the match, and also a critical moment for the Switchblade characters, when he eventually lands the Blade Runner, but then Ibushi kicks out.
Yep.
And that is the symbolic moment where everything falls apart for him. Because in his career, every time he hits the Blade Runner and makes the cover, he wins. Not this time. And then you can see the wheels turning in his head, that his entire strategy, like his philosophy as a wrestler, has just fallen apart on the biggest stage. This opponent who he's beat 3 times last year, has managed to adapt and evolve. And for once, Switchblade has failed to do that. The attack plan failed. The mind games failed. And the cheating failed. His best move has failed. And there's nothing left for him at that point. He's absolutely lost. And there's that fantastic shot of him after the match, and he's desperately clutching at the titles as they're taken away from him. And that 10-minute promo backstage, he's just absolutely desolate. There's no Gedo there. There's no one helping him. No Bullet Club. He's just Jay White, or Jamie, confronted with the reality that who he is right now is not good enough to be the best in New Japan. And I don't think it was a pure babyface promo by any means. It was just like a brutal and emotional display of honesty from a guy who knows that he's bottled it on the biggest stages. Madison Square Garden against Okada, he bottled it. G1 Finals against Ibushi, bottled it. G1 Block Final against Ishii last year. And now the Wrestle Kingdom main event against a guy who he knows he should have beaten. And it's this moment of self-doubt and reflection and moments that we all go through. So it could be the start of that turn. There are the little seeds of doubt there, though. Like when Jay said, I don't want to do this anymore. What does that mean? Is he quitting New Japan? Is he quitting wrestling? Is he going to go to WWE? For what it's worth, Brian Alvarez says that he's on a 7-year deal that expires in 2024, by the way. But, we know that WWE are interested. He is everything that they want. They've got a serious lack of stars in their late 20s. So you can be sure they're going to make a big offer to him. Will he take it? Who knows? I hope not. We all hope not. But others in the past have done. Prince Devitt being the main example. So that leaves us in this interesting position where we'll feel a sense of gratitude and like appreciation to Jay White just for showing up. It's really smart. And then last night at New Year Dash, he gets pinned clean as a whistle by Ishii. And the post-match promo by Ishii is great as well. It's really short, but it lays down that groundwork for the turn. Ishii says, Jay wrestled for nearly an hour last night. I didn't even have a match. Don't let it get to you, kids. Get back to fighting shape, then come and get some revenge. So the path to redemption is there, Damon. Like the path is there. And it might not happen this month. It might not even happen this year, but who would bet against seeing babyface Jay White redeem himself at the Tokyo Dome in 1 or 2 or 3 years' time? Like going from that greasy little edgelord who slithered into the picture at Wrestle Kingdom 12 against Tanahashi to potential babyface superstardom. And it's not a lot. There are a lot of variables, but telling these long-term stories is what New Japan does best. And even as they wrap up one long-term story arc, they're laying down the path for another. Wrestle Kingdom 9, you've seen Tanahashi get his moment of triumph. Now I want to see Okada get his. So Wrestle Kingdom 12 made me want. I was there in the building. It made me want to see Naito get his moment. I wasn't a huge Naito fan when I went to that event. When I saw what happened, I was like, well, shit, I want to see Naito get his moment in the sun. Wrestle Kingdom 14, it made me want to see Ibushi get his moment. And this is the watershed time for Jay White. It's, the crossroads are in front of him. There's the potential for that moment of glory in the future. So, Damon, your thoughts on Jay White?
Jay White, when you think about it, and if you've listened to this show, you know that our thoughts have always been that eventually this will be a Jay White big babyface run. I love the fact that this company is not one to rush things, number one. Number two, plants subtle seeds and lets them grow. And I love the fact that for 24 hours, there was no better pro wrestler than Jay White. Again, across the board, from having a match that was spectacular in the subtlety. It was spectacular in the nuances. It was spectacular in being real and giving you a side of a pro wrestler that was completely built on vulnerability. To me, that was just the most incredible, I don't want to say performance, but that entire package of what they were able to deliver was some of the best pro wrestling I've ever seen. May not be the best match I've ever seen. It may very well be the best promo I've ever seen. And the only thing I could kind of think of, what would be the comparison I would give to that post-match promo? I'm thinking maybe Terry Funk. People I think I've seen Mick Foley or Cactus Jack in ECW would be, and I don't even think that they're close to what we saw. I'm showing people this interview that don't even like pro wrestling. I'm like, you have to see this. It was the vulnerability of Jay White that was exposed. And it was so fucking compelling. I don't know if it's the watch this guy go down thing or watch him lose his marbles in front of a live audience. I don't know. But you're right, in that match, when he's talking about what do I do? What do I do next? And again, not finishing about every single fucking time that Blade Runner is hit. Every single time. It's over. Against the top guys in that company. Tanahashi, Okada, Ibushi. You name it. If he hits it, it's done. And you know it because people groan. It's like, fuck. It's over. He's not kicking out. We're done. Didn't happen. And you are right, Joel. That shot right after that 3 count where Jay White is lying on the mat and he sees both of those titles, and Red Shoes' shoes are right there in that shot, in that frame. And he's clutching for those belts. And Red Shoes picks up the heavyweight title. Nope. And then it's the realization of, oh, fuck. And he scrambles again for the Intercontinental. Nope. That's gone as well. And he just is dejected and done. It's hard for me to talk about a 24-hour period of a better guy, a better performance than that Jay White performance. Again, across the board. It wasn't the greatest wrestling match in the world? No. Was it, the greatest performance I've ever seen? No. But excuse me, I lose my voice. The combination of the match, how the match was worked. I just love the realness of it, Joel. I love the vulnerability of Jay White out on display. Vulnerability is not a trait most people would say, okay, what's a great pro wrestler? A vulnerable one. I don't know. But watching that unfold, and that is the one word I would use to describe vulnerable. And again, that post-match presser where he's screaming. And he's delusional too. Because why is anybody going to fucking help you, dude? You caused all this. This is your doing. Yet almost crying out for help and crying out and realizing that he didn't have the fucking goods. What a spectacular performance. And I am sorry. I got to say it again, Joel. If there are people that are not on this Jay White bandwagon, I get the fact that you didn't like it in the beginning and that G1 performance and, I get it. And he was a young lion and you can't take him seriously and they just stuck him in this big time position. Boy, oh boy. If you were not impressed by that performance, I don't know what I can tell you. I'd be wasting my breath. He is a star, and that performance is a star-making performance.
Face Collector says, could we add promo of the year to the annual award voting? I mean, if we did, you could just close the awards now. It would be interesting to see if anyone could beat Jay's Night 2 promo over the course of this year. And Brendan says, with the Jay White promo post-match interview, the best English-spoken New Japan promo in the world. Can't think of anything that tops
I think it's one of the best promos in the world ever. Mm-hmm. Again, name me better ones. Name me ones that are more emotional and more honest and more just watching a guy die before your eyes. I name it.
Woo. And that's it, isn't it? You said it all. Like, to be a complete dickhead a despicable character that everyone hated over the last 3 years, but then managed to make you feel bad for him. That is top drawer acting and storytelling. Right? Never mind Jamie White. He is a little Game of Thrones fans reference. He's like Jamie Lannister. I think there's something for all of us appreciate as a fiction. We all subconsciously or consciously enjoy and love a good redemption arc where there's someone who you hate so much, but then you go on that journey to see them redeem themselves and become a character that you end up loving. And we are at the start of it here, and it's very, very exciting indeed. But it didn't happen last night at New Year Dash. So Markeem says, with the Bullet Club not ousting Jay yet, do you think when he returns, does he just assume leadership and the group is vastly different, or do you think they turn on him? Because, Damon, it looks to me like this is something they're going to take their time with, because a lot of us thought, he's going to be booted out by the end of yesterday's show, but he wasn't. So how do you see it playing out?
I think people are conditioned, and it doesn't happen a ton of times, like a big, huge angle. I know we saw one at Cork and with Jay White, in fact, beating down everybody, and I will never forget you turning to me and saying, "That guy's winning the title. that guy's winning that guy's winning the belt." And of course, we're all used to the when AJ was leaving, that big angle with Kenny taking over the reins at Bullet Club. But I don't think it's fair that you can just sit there and say Dash shows have to have that big angle, and I don't think they need to. I think the slow burn is the best burn for this. I eventually think that's where we're going. I think everyone can see that. But I look, Dash was not a thrilling show by any stretch, and I know people were a little disappointed that they didn't get that nugget at the end. But I mean, take your time. Let's take your time with this. Let's milk this out a little bit. Let's milk this out a little bit.
Yeah, we had questions along that line. Hurriel says, going into New Year Dash, there were expectations of some sort of dissent within Bullet Club centering around Jay White. Why do you think New Japan has stepped away from hot angles at Dash, a la the ousting of AJ Styles / Rise of Kenny Omega in the past couple of years? And I said this on Twitter before the show started. I was like, that match 5, it looks like something might happen, but expect nothing. Just expect a nice wrestling show with some good tag team matches. And then if anything does happen, you'll be pleasantly surprised, because there hasn't been anything groundbreaking. Like last year, there was the Liger retirement, which was enough in and of itself. And the year before that, sort of the rise to power of Jay White, the night after he'd beaten Okada. And then we've had other stuff, like Naito attacking Chris Jericho, when Jay White turned on Bullet Club, when Kenny tried to recruit him and he ended up attacking him. So, nothing of that sort last night. What do you think of the choice not to put anything groundbreaking like that on New Year Dash?
I mean, look, again, I'm in the boat of I would have loved to have seen it. I would have loved to have had something going out of that show. Like the biggest thing that came out of that show was Tenzan, and what are they now? The United Empire, laying out everybody. I mean, that was the biggest thing to come out of the show. So, look, I'm not gonna lie. When I woke up excited, I thought something bigger was going to happen. I would have liked something bigger to happen. Yeah, probably. But they're gonna milk it a little bit longer. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But I think after the Dome show, everybody was geared up for a Dash show that gave you a little bit more juice, a little bit more energy. And again, aside from that United Empire angle, there really wasn't a lot of big time stuff you're walking away with.
Let me pick your brains on the actual match itself between Ibushi and Jay White. So Jeremiah says, did Ibushi ignoring Jay's legwork detract from that match for you? I loved it as a whole, but would have liked some more selling, especially leading to a knee-heavy finish. So it was an unusual match, Damon. It felt like it had sort of a different structure and pacing than a typical big New Japan main event. Like it felt almost like you're watching a mini film or documentary about the downfall of a man rather than a typical wrestling match. Like it didn't seem to follow the usual rhythm and pacing of a big match, did it?
I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't like you know, it wasn't your typical New Japan main event, but I really liked it. I liked the fact that it was just, you know, Jay White getting cut off at every pass, right? And Ibushi just being a guy who was better that night. And it wasn't like it was a squash or anything, but you know, I think the main idea was the frustration and the vulnerability of Jay White. But I didn't really notice it until you brought it up right now. And I think that's saying something as to how much I enjoyed the actual match. I will say that there were moments that I felt like it went a little long. Like this one went long, didn't it? Like over 30-something minutes.
Yeah, it was 48. It was the longest ever Wrestle Kingdom match.
Yeah. I mean, is that just to show the fact that both guys were given everything they had? 48 minutes. Whew. That's a long match. That's a long match. But I'll tell you what. If they shaved off maybe 10 minutes of that, I think we might be talking about one of the contenders for match of the year. What do you think of that? If they took 10 minutes off,
I don't know about that. I don't know if you can take off that 10 minutes without compromising the story that they were trying to tell, which I figure is Jay White just emptying the tank against this guy, right, and still coming up short. So maybe I need to go back and rewatch it because it was an unusual match. I loved it. Well, I really, really liked it. I'm not sure if I loved it because I didn't have that emotional connection to it, and it didn't build up to that sort of frenetic climax that these New Japan main events usually do. You know, that moment of catharsis. It never got there. It was like build up, stop, build up, stop. And I think that was partly by design. So, you know, maybe when this Jay White story sinks in a bit and I go back and watch this, keeping in mind the promo afterwards, then I might have a newfound appreciation for it. But as it is, it's a very good match, but not a great one. Although I reserve the right to change my mind on that in the future.
Let me ask you. I know we don't like doing it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Can you throw me some stars, just to get an idea of where we're talking about this match?
I'll give you 4 1/3.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more than 4 1/4, and I'm not 4.5 on it.
Yeah, I'm in that range. Okay, and that's fair. Okay, good. We're on the same page. Like if you came to me and we were like 3.5, I'd be like, what? I would be like, what's missing? Okay, we're on the same boat. We're in the same page.
Okay, Daniel says, I love Wrestle Kingdom 15, but got to be honest, I'm not happy about an Ibushi-Sanada rematch. So, of course, Sanada came out in his lovely suit at the end of the show to issue a very gentlemanly challenge to Ibushi, who accepted. So Daniel says, is there room to grow from their G1 final? So, Damon, what are your thoughts on the upcoming Ibushi versus Sanada match?
One of the things that I was most excited about Ibushi winning that title is the idea of some really great title defenses. We're starting with Sanada. Look, I feel like I've made my feelings known about Sanada. And that's probably one of the guys where I'm just like, of all the fucking roster, we're going with Sanada. All right. Now, that being said, I think Ibushi has the skills with a Z to make this a good match. It really depends on how it is paced. But look, truth be told, I was not thrilled to see Sonata walk out there. Again, of all that entire fucking roster, we got that. But it's one defense, and here's the thing too. At least Ibushi will get one under his belt. You know what I mean? He'll get a title defense under his belt. Right? That's a positive. Because there's no fucking way Sonata's winning that title. So there you go. There's your positive. Ibushi gets a nice solid pinfall win and retains the title.
And there was also some talk from Ibushi about unifying those belts. So Ben says, what will be the outcome of the idea of the unified belts? Does it mean a new belt as two become one, like the Spice Girls song? Or do we just send the IC to the museum? Louis says, is unifying the heavyweight and IC belts the right call, or are there too many belts in New Japan right now? I'm personally against it, with the IC at least. And Brendan says, what are your thoughts on unifying the heavyweight and IC titles? New Japan has plenty of silverware up for grabs, but is it the IC title that should go?
Let's be honest here. When we talk about the championship, I never refer to the Intercontinental Championship, right? It's always, we talk about the Heavyweight Championship. We talk IWGP Heavyweight Championship. They could just merge it in. It's just pushed into the heavyweight title, and that's that. I know I talk a lot about splitting the title up and using that title as it once was, and using it on secondary shows and main eventing other, but that would be my ideal. My ideal would be to split them and have them separate and defended separate and all that stuff. But if we go the Ibushi route and just merge them, I mean, would anybody care? Because at this point, the visual of two belts reminds me of like the Triple Crown for All Japan, and I guess that's a cool thing, right? Or like back in the day when the juniors had the 17 titles they would bring to the fucking ring. Just merge it. Just merge it. I don't think anybody's going to lose any sleep if they merged it, because nobody refers to it anyway. It's not it's really not a thing. It hasn't been, the actual title hasn't been defended in over a year, and even before that, it was put on ice to begin with anyway. Like, it's been 2 years of that Intercontinental title just being a prop. It's not defended. It's not a thing. It's just a part of the heavyweight title. It's like all we did was add like an extension to the physical belt. You know what I mean? That's all it is at this point. It's just an extension of the heavyweight title. Merge it. Who gives a shit? No one cares about it. It's not a thing. Put them together. Because it's right now, it's the idea of the Intercontinental Championship is kind of worthless. Just merge it. Who cares?
Yeah, the fear of stating the bleeding obvious here. Obviously, the belt itself is not inherently good or bad, and there's not a sweet spot. Oh, this is the perfect number of singles titles to have in your company. It all just depends on how well they're booked. So, if they want to decouple the belts and book the Intercontinental Championship properly, as they have done in the past, great. If they're not going to bother, then get rid of it. Yep. Merge them, unify them, throw it into the Tokyo Bay. I don't give a fuck. But right. There you go. Kenny Omega Guy says, do you think Ibushi's reign will be a great reign, or will he lose the title quickly, and to whom? So,
good question.
I'm not sure about this. I can see a path, and a few people are thinking the same lines, where he keeps it until whatever your sort of Sakura Genesis show is, and New Japan Cup winner Will Ospreay beats him for that title, and then maybe I could see Naito beating Ospreay for the title at Dominion, because Naito and Ospreay is one of the only actually big singles matches that they haven't run yet that I think could draw a lot of money. And then we eventually get back to Naito versus Okada at the Tokyo Dome. But just going back to the question, do I see Ibushi holding the title for a long time? No, I don't. I will be surprised if he has it at Wrestle Kingdom next year, because, just for the sole reason that I can't really think of any big money singles matches for Ibushi left that you could run at the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah, To answer the question, I don't think so either. And that's not a knock at Ibushi. I just think it's more of New Japan never really giving a first time title a lot of time with it. Yeah, I think he'll hold it longer than New Japan Cup though. Or I'm sorry, we're looking at post New Japan Cup, which would bring us to what are we looking like March, April? He would have one title defense under his belt. Yeah, that's probably a good scenario.
Possibly two. I mean, we've got the New Beginning shows, and then we've got the Castle Attack tour. So there's potential for two defenses.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where we're. He won't. I would be shocked. I would be very shocked if he's holding on to that title the entire year and going into Wrestle Kingdom and defending it. Yeah, I would say around that. I would say before G1 G1 is G1 now in autumn again.
Yeah, Damon, because we've got the Tokyo Olympics, which is absolutely definitely going ahead. Can't see any issues with that. Everything will be back to normal by then.
Yeah. Well, look, I know that we're being elbow in the ribs there, but I mean, New Japan's got their own fucking concerns right now with shows that are on, we'll just say, thin ice at this point. Yeah, but I think you're on point. I would stick with what you gave and brought to the table when it came to that title.
Sticking with Ibushi, let's talk about the Naito versus Ibushi match. So from night one, Ibushi defeating Naito in 31 minutes with Kamigoye, becoming the new IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Champion. This is probably the best match that I have very little to say about. It was great. They got tremendous chemistry. They fucked each other's necks up. I thought Naito in particular did a really good job working Ibushi's neck. He had a nice variety of offense. I like that he used the Puma Blanca there. There was no deep emotional story here. It was just two guys who really, they looked like they love fighting each other. It wasn't noticeably better than any of their other matches, but it still absolutely delivered without doing anything insanely dangerous. I mean, there was the Frankensteiner from the apron. That was, I thought, adequately spectacular for the occasion. And when they fight each other, I always enjoy the tension that builds when they start fucking about on the apron. And they always manage to keep it fresh there because you're like, oh, what's going to happen? You can see the safety police starting to sweat and getting out Twitter. But I mean, that said, Ibushi, I think, is really good at making his bumps look a lot more dangerous than they actually are, because there were quite a few in both matches where he landed on his forearms rather than on his head. And if you see it quickly enough, you think, oh my God, it's right on his head there. But yeah, I thought the striking was very crisp in this match. That's not something that I usually get credit for, but something that stood out to me. And whilst I was pretty convinced that Ibushi was winning, there was a little moment of doubt when he missed the Phoenix Splash, because I thought that might be his Naito Wrestle Kingdom 12 moment, but it wasn't. Ibushi won as expected. With it was a really cool sequence actually at the end where Ibushi managed to grab Naito's wrists mid-destino and getting what I might trollingly describe as a cheeky little V trigger before the Kamigoye, maybe. But yeah, it was a great match, brilliantly paced, flawlessly executed. I loved how Naito went full Hulk Hogan at the end by handing over the belts to steal Ibushi's heat. But I mean, all in all, it's the sort of main event that I think casual fans tune in for. Did exactly what it said on the tin, right?
I loved it. I really did. I'll work my way backwards. When Naito picks up the belts and the titles, and he, just arms extended, and they're just dangling there, and he grabs the belts, almost tries for a hug, and Naito's having none of that. And the arm raise, and then Naito takes the powder. I thought that was a really awesome moment. I will say something too. I like how the English commentary kind of went with the idea of poking, and not poking fun, but like poking the fires of the safety police. Because every time they got on the fucking apron or anything even remotely not centered square in the ring, they were going, "Oh, please don't kill yourselves, please. You're gonna wind up paralyzed." Blah, 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 blah. So I did kind of like that that they played into that idea as well. I don't think this was a not safe match at all, right? I think they played up elements of it and teased a lot of it and gave people a little bit. It's like a roller coaster ride, you know. You gave them a little butterfly in there, you know, sitting dangling off the side of the ring or on the apron or what have you. So no, I don't think there was anything that where I was like, oh, that was terrible. They're putting themselves in harm's way. I thought the match was very good. Do you think this was better than White and Ibushi? Like, of the two, which one do you think was better?
Yeah, I like this one better. I mean, there's not a huge margin in it, but I did prefer this one.
I do too. So we're over the 4 and midways. Okay. So, yeah, me too. I did as well. Do you feel bad for Naito at all? I know I harp on it a lot in the sense of I don't know if this guy gets the due respect, the longer title reign, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It feels like his momentum starts and then it stops. Any shedding any tears for Naito?
Nah, I don't think so. He got his brilliant moment in an all-time great match last year in a packed house at the Tokyo Dome, and he was the figurehead for the company. And I think it should be a mark of pride for him that he was able to be at the top of the company and guide them through what was a really difficult year, both personally and in terms of business. And I think that's something he should hang his hat on. He's got, even if he doesn't win the IWGP title again, which I wouldn't necessarily say that, he's had 3 reigns with it, which I think most professional wrestlers would bite your hand off at the chance to get that. So no, I don't feel sorry for him at all.
Okay, all right. I know. I just want to make sure all the Naito fans are satisfied. I don't want any. I don't want any.
No, you know what? I haven't heard any Naito fans moaning. I think this idea of these sort of crazed Naito fans, I do feel it's a bit of a straw man. I've never really experienced any unreasonable opinions from people like that. And obviously, I'm a Naito fan myself, but I haven't seen anything ridiculous. I don't think
ridiculous. I feel bad for them. I just thought they were a fan base where they were just kind of always looking for the moment, and
they got it. They're satisfied.
Are they? All right, listen.
I think so.
All right, I'm a glutton. I want more. All
right, Steve says, what does 2021 hold for Naito? And Mordecai says, what's best for Naito now that he's lost the belt? So, I'm curious if he gets another title run or another Wrestle Kingdom main event, because in his post-match promo, he said he will be there again. And Naito is not a guy who just talk shit. Usually when he says something, there's going to be a kernel of truth to it. So what do you think? What does Naito do for this year?
That was my question, to be honest. That was me, Joel. I under a pen name. I wrote that question. Great, but I don't know. Like, where what is he going to be doing? He's not a guy that you're going after the Never title. What Sonata, like, even if you had some fucking wacky idea of them going after the tag titles, that ain't happening. Sonata's kind of looking at the heavyweight title. Like, what does he do? Like, who's he with until the end of New Japan Cup?
He doesn't have anything lined up for New Beginning, it seems like, just based on Dash yesterday. So, maybe he's just going to take this one off and be, more of a support role than having a big high-profile match. But I do feel that he is going to get himself back in the title picture. And again, I still think there is money in another Okada Naito match at Tokyo Dome.
It could be. I still think that match that is fresh is Will and Naito. But there's a lot of guys like that, though. I mean, we talk about how Dash is the beginning and it hits the reset button and blah, 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 blah. I mean, what's Tanahashi up to? What's Naito up to? Now that it's all said and done, I mean, we're assuming that it's said and done. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, Okada seems like he's got an open schedule. Kind of curious. There's a couple big names out there that, okay, what are we doing with these guys going past New Japan Cup?
I do have a good idea. I think they set the groundwork for that. But those names you mentioned, we'll come on to them as we discuss their matches. Maybe we should move on to talking about Hiromu Takahashi, because this was the co-main event of the second night, the fifth match, the Junior Heavyweight Championship, where Hiromu defeated Taiji Ishimori in 25 minutes, 31 seconds with time on 2 to become the new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. And these guys were put in a huge spot here. It's the first time that junior title had semi-mained at the Dome, and I thought they did a great job. They had a different type of match to their other bouts. And I want to single out Ishimori here for particular praise, because often he doesn't get the love he deserves. We've accused him of phoning it in from time to time, and he is basically the reset button for the junior title when plans go wrong. But I thought he was excellent here. He brought a level of aggression that made this match feel unique to their other encounters. There was that moment in the middle with a nasty elbow fly where Hiromu was just kept staggering into the elbow after elbow, just really brutal stuff. And I thought Hiromu sold the shoulder really well. All in all, I thought it felt like an appropriate rubber match for their feud over the last 6 months.
Yeah, I thought this match was really good. I think it kind of answers some questions too for a lot of people. I know a lot of people were expecting, and probably still are expecting, Hiromu to be blessed with the idea of heavyweight status. I don't think there's any need to do that. And again, I think that just helped anchor him to that title and to that division. And I don't see any reason why we would want to change that. He's already more important than the majority of heavyweights in that division right now. Anyway, so why not just leave him as a junior and carry the torch. Ishimori was great here. I thought he was fantastic. And you're right. He is I don't want to say it he's not a transition guy. That's for sure. That's not the word I'm looking for. But he is a guy that you can rely on, especially as a heel, to get you from point A to point B. He's not going to be the focal point of your junior promotion in your junior division. But what he is that more than solid. He's a pretty great, it would be boring if Hiromu just held on to the title and just beat people. And like the idea of having Ishimori there, being a stud to kind of be the foil to Hiromu has worked so far. And juniors, keep in mind, I think there's quite a few options that are on the table that, right now aren't available to them. One of them, Ryu Lee, is probably the one that sticks out in my mind of being a guy that we haven't seen in quite a long time. They have an absolutely fantastic chemistry. And that's absolutely something that you can go to. Show. I don't think Show's moving up anytime soon, right? I think that he's still going to be a junior. And correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Hiromu kind of call him out?
Yeah, that's correct, because Sho was the only other person who beat Hiromu during Best of the Super Junior, so you'd imagine they're going to have a junior title match at New Beginning.
How great would that be? That's going to be fantastic. And then you have, even something as crazy as like ACH, if they're able to get into the country. That's not a crazy idea, I don't think. So I think there's a lot of options for the juniors, and him holding the title just guarantees that you're going to have great matches. I don't worry about the junior division, that's for sure. And I wouldn't be surprised if ELP is still in the mix, right? He's not one of my favorites for certain, but I'm sure he'll be in the mix as well. But if I got a couple months of show, I'm fucking thrilled with this.
Do you think the junior title is big enough to headline one night at the Tokyo Dome?
I mean, we're assuming that they do a proper build, which why would we doubt that? Yeah. Hiromu is an anchor in this promotion. To me, he's. I know I've said it before, but he's 90s Liger at this point. He's the equivalent of when it comes to being a face of this promotion. I think he's popular enough. I think you all you need is a captivating, compelling story to get people juiced up for it and build. You absolutely can do it. I don't see why not. I really don't. I definitely think that could headline.
Yeah, I mean, look at our year-end awards where he won Wrestler of the Year, he won Junior Heavyweight of the Year, and he won Favorite Wrestler of the Year. So this is a guy who's just got universal love from all fans, both domestic and foreign. So, yeah, why would you not try that? So it's interesting you brought up El Fantasma there. Let's briefly talk about their match on night one, which opened up the show on January 4th. So there was Hiromu Takahashi defeating El Fantasma in 17 minutes 46 seconds with a Hurricane Rana. I thought it was a really great start to this match. There were some dangerous looking spots. Then El Fantasma took control doing the loaded boot gimmick. Hiromu pulls out a surprise win, which, yeah, like you said, it suggests that they will meet again this year. And if others are to be believed, that was going to be the plan last year until COVID hit. So that's why Ishimori was a replacement for El Fantasma. So we'll see him going back to this year. I mean, I think ELP, he's a perfectly fine wrestler, but he's not an elite wrestler like a lot of other guys in the division. Like, he's nowhere near the level of Hiromu or Ryu Lee. And he's even a clear step or two below the likes of Desperado, Sho, Robbie Eagles, Ishimori. I think he's a really good athlete. I think his high spot flippy doos are fun to watch, but he doesn't seem to have that snap or that precision in timing that I like to see at the very top of this division. And it kind of felt like Hiromu was being dragged down to an inferior match. And the match was fine. I liked it well enough. But we know Hiromu, he shits out better matches than this before lunch. And ELP's heel shtick, it's pretty corny. I don't find it offensive in small doses. He's very creative. He obviously puts a lot of thought into his work and the spots in his match, and that deserves credit. I'm just not sure it works well in the clap crowds, though. I think the pacing needed to be adjusted to account for that, and it did leave some uncomfortably quiet moments. I do think they have a better match in them. We've seen ELP do really well in big spots like the Rocky match in Best of the Super Juniors or the Ospreay King of Pro Wrestling match. So I'm sure they're going to meet again. I do expect it to be better than this. So Elliot says, in regards to how I said the Hiromu ELP match felt a little flat due to the clap crowd environment, do you think wrestlers like ELP should be obligated to change what they're doing due to current circumstances, or should they just go on like it's business as usual? I mean, you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but I think there are tweaks that you can make to account for that, and I'm not sure El Fantasma has quite got around that yet. What did you think of the LP match?
I thought it was fine. Again, not one of Hiromu's best matches that we'll put on the compilation DVD. But here's the thing. I hate ELP. And I hate ELP because he is a wonderful heel. Like, he's a modern day heel. And I think people lose focus of that, right? Like, I hate, trust me, I hate when people say, well, a heel can get away with anything because he's a heel, and I don't subscribe to that. But he is a dickhead heel. Like, that's his role, to be an absolute fucking dickhead. He plays it well. He does very well with it. He does things to piss off wrestling fans. Walking to the ring with the jacket and, basically kicking it and tossing it and wiping his ass with it. Look at that, people kind of like, well, and I think people are, I don't know if people necessarily equate that with hokey heel Western style wrestling that they don't want to see. Maybe they do. Maybe that's a part of it. But again, if you're going to piss off, if you're going to be a heel,
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
It's Wild Card Weekend, and you can follow all the action at BetOnline.net. For the first time in league history, 6 games are on the board during the opening round of the playoffs. Feature games Saturday include Indy at Buffalo and LA at Seattle. On Sunday, Chicago visits the Big Easy, while divisional rivals Cleveland and Pittsburgh square off. Check out all the action this week at BetOnline.net as the journey to Tampa gets underway. Always available online or your mobile device. Visit BetOnline.net today. Bring the game home at BetOnline.net.
And get people angry at you in a New Japan Pro Wrestling crowd, which, again, these aren't dummies watching. I mean, you got to push some buttons, I guess. In-ring, yeah, I think he is a spectacular wrestler in the sense of, I don't know if I necessarily have seen a match where he puts all those pieces together, but there are spots and moments in matches where I'm like, oh, that was fucking great. That's pretty cool. So I think he's in the. I mean, listen, there's no doubt he's in the mix. I think that's an easy thing to put down in the booking sheets. But you know, the heel stuff is where, you know, I hate ELP. He's not one of my favorite wrestlers, and I think a lot to do with that is that he pushes the buttons and he pushes them properly.
Yeah, I don't want to go down that road of, oh, you're supposed to hate him, you're getting worked. I think some people can... The two things are not mutually exclusive. They can appreciate, yes, this person is deliberately trying to make himself hateable, but also you can appreciate that, but dislike his wrestling and not be interested in seeing him wrestle. I think both things can be true. So just want to throw that out there. I mean, if it's looking at what's next for these guys, it looks like ELP and Ishimori are going to be challenging Desperado and Kanemaru for the junior tag titles, which I think is an interesting one. Again, just given that Bullet Club Suzuki-gun dynamics where, you know, you can't really call Desperado and Kanemaru baby faces, but it looks like they will be the de facto baby faces in this match. So that'll be one that I'm looking forward to.
I mean, that's the feud right now, right? Bullet Club and Suzuki-gun. It feels like that's the feud. You know, and both factions fighting over tag titles. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I kind of dig that, actually.
Right, well, I'm excited to talk about this one on night 2. This is the fourth match, special singles match with Sanada defeating Evil in 23 minutes 40 seconds with a rowdy body press. Now, look, Damon, I know you're going to shit on this one, but I have a retort of 4 words that will automatically prove me right and you wrong. So
all right.
It's up to you. You can either go first and leave you... I can either go first and you'll end up with your proverbial dick in your hand, or I can let you go first and destroy you with my comeback. So what's it going to be?
Wow. Hey. I'll go first. I don't care. Destroy me. Here's the one thing that I was happy about. That we had 2 guys that I find to be the least interesting in New Japan Pro Wrestling stuck in one match. So we didn't have to waste 2 matches on these guys. I'm bored to tears watching Evil and Sonata. I am bored to tears with Dick Togo. I am bored to tears hoping and wishing for a different Sonata that I know I will never get. I'll never get it. We'll never get that. I'm tired of trying, and I'm tired. Like, I should just resign to the fact that this is what this is, and unfortunately I can't, because I'm constantly reminded of how athletic he is and how great he is and how he's over with Japanese crowds, and I don't get it. It is not for me. And this is my fucking show, so I'm gonna cry about it. And again, Evil. Look, I was excited. If Evil were just booked differently, I wouldn't hate Evil as much. I would like Evil if he were just booked differently. Look, this is not a feud. The idea of Sonata and Evil in this match hating each other is laughable. They don't hate each other. There's no reason to believe that Sonata and Evil hate each other after spending years in the same faction and being tag team champions and assuming they've broken some bread in the past. There's nothing to sink your teeth into here. There's nothing to see here. Move along. Now, again, Sonata's on his way for a title shot. Evil, who knows where he's going to go and where he's going to land. But you're talking about two guys that are probably the most boring in all of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Right, you ready for the retort that's going to prove that you're wrong?
I love it.
Dick Togo table bump. How can anyone sit there and tell me that match was bad when we got that incredible moment of Evil lightly bumping into Dick Togo standing on the apron and Dick Togo launching into a spectacular elbow drop through the table? That might have been my favourite moment from both shows.
I love how he realized that he switched elbows to be able to do. I don't know. That was a moment, that we're not soon to forget. What it felt like he was going to do a back bump, but then he bailed out of it and decided to go hip. Take it elbow. But why would he drop an elbow? Why? If you're falling and even if you want to protect yourself, would you drop an elbow? Would your elbow be the first thing you would want to brace your fall with? It made no sense. And it was hit. He's on the apron. Get hit. Pause. Jump. Elbow out. It was ridiculous. Tell me you hated this match, Joel. Tell me you hated this match.
I didn't. Look, these matches they're Marmite. If you are familiar with Marmite, you either love it or you hate it. I don't think anyone is going to be won over at this point. There's nothing I can say that's going to make someone who hated this go, oh, you know what, you're right, I actually liked it. People have drawn their line in the sand, and it is what it is at this point. I mean, you do talk about, you said if Evil was booked differently, and a lot of people say, I want Evil to be, powerhouse lariat suplex guy. He was that for years. No one gave a shit about him, right? So I'm not buying that. For me personally, I'm okay with that. This was a fun match. It was like an It was like a comic book match. We had our bingo cards out from the Twitter thing, and it's the right place on the card. I don't want this stuff mucking up the IWGP title scene every month. That's not the right place for it. I didn't mind it for a little period last year because I thought it was quite fresh and I found it entertaining. But I think, third from the top, absolutely fine with that. The crowd were into it, and that helps my enjoyment of it. I thought both guys put in good effort. They worked really hard, and I just found it very entertaining. But I do agree with you that this the next level Sonata, he doesn't exist, right? He is what he is now. We've seen it all from Sonata, and he has got this big Ibushi match coming up. And again, it puts him in a strange position. Is he Chief J Sonata now? Because he's not going to win that, is he? And this is quite a few title challenges for him where he's come up empty-handed. It looks like another one on its way.
Yeah. If he's a popular pro wrestler in that company overseas in Japan, and if he makes the company money, great. Evil. Apparently Evil's merch, it sells, right? Wasn't that Bullet Club T-shirt, that new one, that was a pretty popular seller so far, right? In 2020.
Yeah, it was the best seller for the overseas shop. So even foreign fans are digging the Evil turn.
Yeah, and I might be on an island on that. I might be on an island. These are if I'm going to take two guys that interests me the least at this point. It's got to be both those guys. Like, we know where Sonata's going. Where does former IWGP Heavyweight Champion Evil go?
Okada. It looks like he's going to be having a singles match or a singles program with Okada at New Beginning. So, Booze Leprechaun says, what are the odds that the winner of Okada Evil challenges for the hopefully unified IWGP belt after the Sonata defense? So, one, how do you feel about Okada and Evil going at it again? And do you think the winner of that challenges for the title? Maybe at Castle Attack?
Does that match scare you at all? That is not a.
I think it depends on which Okada turns up. Because
sure
if the New Japan Cup final Okada turns up, then no, because that match got shit on, and I think a lot of the blame should go to Okada there, if not most of it, because that was Evil's first match doing this heelish character. Oh, and actually no, he was still Lij at that point, wasn't he? So I think Okada's got to shoulder the blame. I mean, let's put it this way, it can't be any worse than that match. So hopefully if Okada gives a shit and is using his proper moves again, and Evil, this is, 6 months after he's debuted the gimmick, he's feeling a bit more comfortable with it. I think it could be all right. I mean, I'm not going to be holding my breath for any 5-star classics, but I'm not dreading it. I'm side-eyeing it.
Oh, I'm dreading it. Look, I'm going to give you doomsday prediction. We're going to be in front of an empty arena because they're not going to let people in. Okada is going to go into empty arena mode. We're going to get money clips out our assholes. And Evil.
Maybe we get like the Event Horizon situation where Okada locks on the money clip and then Dick Togo chokes Okada with the garrote whilst the money clip's on, and then everyone's brain melts.
Yep. I'll go so far as to say I guarantee you we'll see that spot. What do you think of that?
And when it happens, we're going to laugh, Damon. We're going to have a good chuckle.
Yeah, but only because we're amusing ourselves because we're idiots and assholes. That's the reason. I mean, we are going to see that spot. You do know that, right? That will happen. I am deathly afraid of this match. I am. Oh boy!
It can't hurt you, Damon. It's not real.
I'm gonna need therapy after this. Imagine I don't give a shit Okada and Evil and Dick Togo in an empty warehouse. Holy mother of God. Whoa.
Well, look, we don't have to improve it. Just someone set up a table ringside and then...
One bump will save it. Oh, my God. Somebody get the vaccine over in Japan quickly. Oh, God.
All right, well, let's cleanse the palate then and talk about a different match. I would like to discuss the fifth match from night one, which was Kazuchika Okada defeating Will Ospreay in 35 minutes with the Rainmaker. This was excellent. The pre-match vignette and the new singles theme for Ospreay presented him like a star. It felt like a hot grudge match. I really like Angry Ospreay. I thought he emoted well, showing his contempt for Okada. I really liked him, laying the elbows in hard and slapping Okada, stomping on his face. And here, I think, was some solid evidence of Ospreay adapting his style to a more heavyweight style that I don't think was there in the G1. A lot of people were saying, he's changed his style in the G1. I didn't see it, but I did see it here. This did not feel like a typical Ospreay match. There was less of the high-flying, get all your shit in. He took his time. He was more deliberate and aggressive with his offense in a way that I thought was paced really well. So, for example, the first notable high-flying spot from Ospreay was the Spanish fly from the top rope, which was over 30 minutes into the match. And the setup for the usual hook kick that he does, that was replaced by a nasty elbow to the back of the head. So he has notably changed up his style, and it worked for me. I thought he was a really good foil to Okada, who, he can be a bit bland without the right opponent. And when the match started, as soon as Okada did that tope, you knew that he meant business too, and we were in for a ride. I thought B. Priestley was an effectively irritating ringside presence without going full Dick Togo and actually interfering in the match. I love the nasty ringside spots, like the brainbuster on the table, which had a really small margin for error there, being so close to the guardrail. It was executed perfectly. Now, the money clip Rainmaker thing, it wasn't, in retrospect, it wasn't a really coherent, compelling story. It doesn't have the history or the lore or even the logic behind it, like something like the Stardust Press spot did. And I don't think there's that much to sink your teeth into, apart from he stopped doing the move and now he did the move again because he got angry, I suppose. So if you look at that solely from the point of view of the pacing of the match, the build up to the Rainmaker as the climactic finishing move, I thought it was executed really well. And you could definitely hear a little groan of displeasure from the crowd when Okada locked in the money clip initially. And then Ospreay got a pretty big pop for using the Rainmaker on Okada, and then you got a nice reaction at the end for Okada doing it. And it didn't really make sense to me as a character arc, but even without buying into that story, I thought the match was outstanding, and I thought it was a great performance from Ospreay, who I've given a lot of shit to, but I think this was a massive improvement on some of his G1 matches. And Okada, of course, he's still capable of those big, spectacular main event epics. He's going to be more judicious, more selective about deploying them. So, what did you think of this?
Outstanding match. My favorite match of the weekend. Of the 3 nights. Unbelievably, I was on the edge of my seat most of the match. You're right with the money. Well, let's talk Will first. Yes, I would agree 1,000% in the sense of we had this. To me, this was Will Ospreay's first true heavyweight match where he put it all together. I thought the match had a much more violent, much more like there was more heat and anger and feud here than, sorry to go back to Evil and Sonata. Two guys who spent more time, it felt like, together. I loved this match. The money clip. Yes, there were audible groans. And I love how that played into the match. He knows it. He knows it. He knows that no one wants to see it. And even though you do get some submission wins, it's not your exclamation point. It's not your this match is fucking done move. And it's boring to boot. So here he goes. He tries it again, and everyone's like, and you can hear everybody at home. I heard people all over the world just go, motherfucker, what are you doing? And you're frustrated, and you're like, come on, hit the fucking ring.
It's the ruined orgasm of the wrestling world, isn't it?
It is.
No, don't let it go.
Yeah, I'm dribbling out. Oh, come on. Yes. And then Will Ospreay goes for it. And it was almost like Okada said, you motherfucker. What? And now, here he goes. Let me tell you, when Ospreay hit that Rainmaker and he does the pose, you knew it was coming. I felt like you knew it was coming even before that, but okay. Now it was like, Will is eating a fucking Rainmaker. And he did. And you could hear the place almost breathe, not only cheer, but breathe a sigh of relief. Like, finally, you dumb fuck. Thank you. I thought the match was fantastic, man. I really did. It might be my favorite Okada Ospreay match. And that's saying something because I really enjoyed each and every one of those fucking things. I'm a little surprised that now this is what Will's third opportunity against Okada. Third or fourth? I could be wrong. Whatever.
There was the Rev Pro match. Then they had the anniversary match. Mm-hmm. There was a G1 match. There was a New Japan Cup match, and then there was another G1 match. So that's 4 defeats and 1 dirty win after
Right.
O'Khan interfered.
Right. So, I mean, he hasn't really gotten that win, that big win. Which I was a little surprised with. But I love the match. And again, it was my favorite match of the weekend. And don't be surprised if you see full marks going for that one. I don't know what match on that card would beat that Okada Ospreay match as best of the two nights. I think that's my winner.
So, I guess the question is, does Okada get back to the title scene? So, I'm figuring the winner of this Okada Evil match gets the next shot, but I think that's more likely to be Evil than Okada. So we get a nice Evil versus Ibushi title match at Castle Attack. But I'm going to shoot my shot now. I think Okada wins the G1. So I think we don't see him in the title picture until next year's Wrestle Kingdom. But what do you think? Do you think we're likely to see Okada challenging for that belt this year?
I think there's a strong possibility. To me, so who you have winning New Japan Cup? And again, it's the first week of fucking January, but okay. Who do you have winning New Japan Cup?
Well, judging that huge Ospreay beatdown of Tenkoji at New Year Dash yesterday, and I really enjoyed the moment, Damon, where he went on that big rant in front of Kevin Kelly and Chris Charlton, and then told Chris Charlton, the English announcer, at the English announce desk, doing the English commentary for the English fans, translate that. It's like, translate it for who, Will? Because even when he's a big angry heel, he's still a complete dope. So I enjoyed that moment. But yeah, I think Will Ospreay is your New Japan Cup winner this year. And I think he will beat Ibushi for the title and then have a big match with Naito at Dominion.
Okay. Then who wins G1? You said Okada, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What if you flipped it?
Yeah, lay it out for me.
So,
Okada wins New Japan Cup.
Yeah. Ospreay wins G1. Ospreay. Listen. Again, we're first week of fucking January, but I think the money match for New Japan right now is Ospreay Naito. Like that to me is a match that hasn't been done. We haven't seen it, and I think it would. I think it could main event.
Main event Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
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 Yep. I'm with you on that. There's a lot of interesting possibilities. I'm excited. Looking forward to this year, Damon. That's perfectly plausible. Which way round would you have it? Would you have Naito going into that as the champion, defending against G1 winner Ospreay? I guess you would. Or is there any logic in doing it the other way around, where Ospreay's got the title and Naito's coming in as the G1 winner?
I mean, you could. I think you got to give Ospreay the G1 win. Which, again, it kind of leads me to, right, where so Naito's got to win that title again, right? Would you do Ibushi Naito again?
No, not for a while.
So you're saying Ibushi loses to Okada?
No, I was saying
okay.
Ibushi loses to New Japan Cup winner Will Ospreay. Then Ospreay loses it to Naito at Dominion. Okada wins the G1, and we do Okada Naito at the Dome. But now that you've thrown out there Ospreay versus Naito at the Dome, I like that as well. So who knows?
All right. Listen, we did all the heavy lifting. You guys figure it out. New Japan, figure it out.
But I mean, the match has served its purpose then, in that Will Ospreay feels like a legit star now, given that big semi-main event spot, and he's a guy now.
Yeah, and not only a guy, a heavyweight. Like, he truly feels like that was a heavyweight match. The transition is complete.
Did that match in any way remind you of Okada Omega matches? Because I think there are comparisons to be made between Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay.
Yes, but like I don't think that the Okada Ospreay match fits nicely into a Okada Omega whole. I don't think it's I think there's a lot of variance and a lot of difference between those matches and between both of those as workers. I mean, I can see the comparison people will make. I think they were a bit different. I know people will use the table spot as a reference with Kenny and Ospreay. I mean, I can see where people can draw those comparisons. To me, it felt a little bit on its own and separate between the two.
Bash says, what do you think of Ospreay's new nickname, which is the Commonwealth Kingpin? Bash says the contentions, maybe he means connotations, that go with that name. To me, from a background of parents that are from a country that was ruled by the British and is still at war because of what they did, makes me feel very uneasy about it. Do you think he did this on purpose or just called himself that due to fitting in with the theme of the Empire? Probably the latter. I don't think, I'm just guessing, but gun to my head, I would not think Will Ospreay has a particularly strong grasp on world history. So
right.
I think it's just something that he picked that he thought sounded cool.
Yeah, it was either that or it was, I don't know. Never mind. I can't. I don't know history enough to even give you a joke reference. What do you think of that? Yeah. Let's not give Will too much credit there.
Yeah, if he comes out saying that he's like the opium warlord or something, then we can start taking him to task over that.
I'm the Panama Canal. I'm the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Right, Anwar says, who would you like to see as a junior in the Empire? Damon, I'm still at the point where I do not need or want to see any new members to the Empire yet because they're still fresh enough and exciting enough for me to be invested in them as a 3-man and 1-woman unit.
Yeah. You don't have to have every weight division represented in a faction yet. It's not a requirement to be officially recognized as a faction to have every weight class represented. Let's give this time a little bit. Let's make it organic, guys. Let's make it feel a little bit organic. I'm sure the day will come, but let's not shoehorn in a guy just because there's a junior heavyweight spot to be filled. There isn't. There doesn't have to be. Let's not shoehorn it in.
And if you want to throw in another problematic shitboy, then there's TJP. So
no.
you know where to find him. Okay, right. Next match I would like to talk about was from night 2. It was the third match for the Never Openweight Championship with Shingo Takagi defeating Jeff Cobb in 21 minutes 11 seconds with Last of the Dragon as he successfully retains the Never Openweight Championship. I need a deep breath before this one. I've made no secret of my fatigue with the standard Never title match of lariats and shouting and funny faces and running the ropes and no selling. This match blew all of that shit out of the water. This is what I want the Never division to be. Heel Jeff Cobb, he looks like a terrifying ass kicker who would throw you through a wall for looking at him the wrong way. He reminded me of Gary Albright here. And
yeah.
Shingo, he's a guy who's used to being able to physically bully his opponents, but he couldn't do it here. And they're just little touches, like early on in the match when Cobb threw Shingo forcefully off him after an early cover attempt. And that little look of surprise on Shingo's face, like, fuck, I'm going to have my hands full here. And the pace and the intensity of this match was relentless. These two guys were throwing each other around like ragdolls non-stop for 21 minutes. There was no downtime here. Like right from that first release German suplex on the outside, you knew it was going to be good. And, I've said for years on this show that Jeff Cobb, he needs a dynamic opponent to bump for him, Hangman Page or Will Ospreay, whoever. And I said on the preview last week that Shingo could absolutely do that for Cobb, to make Cobb look like a monster. What I did not expect was for Jeff Cobb to do the same for Shingo. Jeff Cobb, he put on a career highlight performance here, and everyone who hummed and hawed when he was brought in for the G1 again this year needs to apologise right now, because this was by far the best Cobb match I've ever seen. His work rate and his cardio here, it was unbelievable, Damon. Like, I didn't know he had it in him. We saw him in his first G1 in 2019. He was getting visibly gassed halfway through his matches. That guy's gone. This is a different Jeff Cobb. This Jeff Cobb has got himself in great shape. He had a terrific G1. He's adapted his style with more depth and more creativity. He's been given a big singles match at the Tokyo Dome and has worked his arse off here. Incredible. And I think now you can plug this guy in as a ready-made title challenger for any main event, any of the top guys on the roster. And the old Jeff Cobb, he needed other guys to work around him to make him look good. But this Jeff Cobb can make his opponents look good too. And he made Shingo look just as much of a killer as Shingo did for him. And that just created this match, which was a titanic struggle between two powerhouses who left everything out there. It was like watching a bloody kaiju movie. It was like Godzilla versus King Ghidorah out there. Shingo doing tope con hilos right from Jump Street. And we should have higher expectations for Shingo than just doing lariats and shouting. I want more of this Shingo. And we even had a bit of knee work that led to Jeff Cobb not being able to make the pin for the Tour of the Islands. That was put in there, presumably just for me, Damon, because you know how much I love that. And a busted nose for Jeff Cobb. We got a bit of blood as well. This was just a brilliant match.
Yeah,
two guys.
Best match.
Yeah, by far. Two guys who got their first Tokyo Dome singles match and just blew away my expectations. They knocked it out of the park. And this was my favourite match of the week.
Wow. Hey, nice. It's in my top 3. An outstanding performance by Jeff Cobb. As you were describing it and talking about that match, you know the thing that popped in my head, and I hate to say it, Jeff Cobb took the spot or the style or whatever you want to call it that I wished Evil would have been. Everything that you described, I wished that was Evil, right? But it's not. It's Jeff Cobb. And guess what? I'm happier for it. You're right. The idea of a never open weight title match is that beefy, big boy, hard hitting lariats, stand in the middle of the ring with 75 forearms exchange. Let's see who's the toughest motherfucker. I love it. I do. I get off on that one. Love it. This felt even more different. This was take that element, but incorporate suplexes, right? I felt like I saw the heels of boots flying through the air more than I have in a long time. That one toss, remember back outside the ring. And Jeff Cobb had Shingo in the air. He's holding him, ready to throw him over his fucking head. Shingo's feet, it's off the ground. So it's not like he's getting the push, the little boost help from Shingo to go over, to fly through the fucking air. Joel, Cobb tossed him like he was a bag of flour over his head, and Shingo fucking flew. I popped out of my seat and was like, are you kidding me? And that was like that the whole entire match. Guys just getting fucking tossed and landing on their heads a couple times. And incorporating hard-hitting, beefy style. And the pace. This was not a slow match by any stretch of the imagination. This was fun. This was depending upon the moment, my second or third favorite match of the entire weekend. And again, we love to praise Shingo, and it's well deserved. To me, Jeff Cobb deserves a lot of the because here's the thing: if this match were going to go sour or take a downward turn, I think a lot of people were like, okay, gonna put that blame on Jeff Cobb. But the match turned out to be spectacular and great. You knew Shingo was going to be at a certain level. It was up to Jeff Cobb to raise his game to get that match to that certain level, and I think he overshot expectations. This, to me, and I'm not sitting here with, again, the best of Jeff Cobb DVD compilation as a reference. But in my mind, and in my recollection, this might be the best Jeff Cobb match, period. And he saved it for a big stage against an opponent who is equal to the task, arguably an MVP of New Japan in 2020. I don't know what more you could ask for. Yeah. For a, and I hate to put a little qualifier on it, and by saying for a never open weight title match, this was great. This was great, period. And I couldn't be happy for Jeff Cobb, because what this did was they like the guy already. They want the guy already. This just helped plant his feet a little bit deeper in the New Japan foundation. So he'll be around for a long, long time.
What do you think his ceiling is in the company?
Well, I mean, not heavyweight, right? Like, I love the fact that he is just like the Western monster. I love the way he's presented. He looks like a fucking badass. I still think Okan and Cobb need to have some fucking tag straps. Oh, those two would be amazing. He'll get a taste with the Never title. I have no doubt.
I wonder if you could do you know what they did with Zack in 2018 with the New Japan Cup? Just have him just tear through a New Japan Cup field with that. Not necessarily win the title challenge, but just winning that tournament and doing it in a memorable way. He could be a made man.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. They need more tournaments. Let's do speaking of which. Well, it doesn't look like they're going to. I mean, who knows? What? I know I keep going back to it, but what the fuck is this company going to do if they start shutting shit down? Are we going back to tournaments?
I don't know. I mean, you want to touch on that now? I know that the COVID news. I think it all depends on the Prime Minister's decision. Like, there could be some changes to the upcoming tours depending on that. And I believe at the moment restaurants need to close by 8 p.m. Large-scale events are restricted to 50% capacity or 5,000 people, whichever's lower, and also need to be finished by 8 p.m. And that is applicable to Tokyo, Kanagawa, Saitama, and Chiba. And, you know, these aren't, as always, they're not strict requirements. Businesses can and often do ignore them, but New Japan won't. New Japan is going to stick to these. So, you know, they've got 14 Korakuen shows coming up in the next 6 weeks. So there might be some cancellations and things being moved around for sure.
Yeah. I heard Chris Charlton's going to storm the Senate. He's got a flag and everything.
He seems like the type, doesn't he?
Yeah, he seems like one of those. He's gonna have his fatigues on, and he's gonna storm. Fuck. Yeah. Those Korakuen shows are on thin ice. I would say that. I think that's a safe statement. They are on thin ice.
Well, let's stick with Shingo here, the Never Openweight Championship. It looks like his next challenger is going to be none other than Hiroshi Tanahashi. So Trigger says, with Tanahashi versus Shingo coming up, would you say New Japan is elevating the Never belt to a secondary title in lieu of the IC belts? And do they need a secondary belt? So what are your thoughts on Shingo versus Tanahashi and the placement of the Never title now?
I think we talked about Tanahashi and Shingo as a possibility, and I think we were both excited for it. Tanahashi getting in on that Never mix. The only thing I worry about is poor Tanahashi's going to have to get into beefy mode, though. No, you know what? Let me take that back. I think that this might put a new spin on Never. This might given these matches a new dynamic. we're so used to watching Shingo be beefy boy, hard-hitting, never guy. Him in the ring with Tanahashi is going to give you a new perspective. He's going to bring some new shit to the table. I think that could be really fucking great, actually. I'm into it. Because there's no way Tanahashi's going never style, right? He's not turning into fucking Tomohiro Ishii.
Yeah, the bell starts and he's pointing at the rope. It's like, come on, motherfucker! Ah!
Right. I don't see that happening, right? So Shingo's going to have to adapt to Tanahashi. Because I don't think in the back Shingo is going, hey, Tanahashi, brother. Why don't we do a bunch of fucking lariats and I'll beat you over the... no, we're not doing that. Here's what we're doing.
Shoot headbutts. Empty arena. Clonk.
Hey! Yeah, in the words of the great Tito Santana, I ain't bumping for you, brother. Yeah, I mean, I can't see Tanahashi mapping out a match like that. So, will there be some elements of that? Yeah, maybe, but I think this is going to be more of a Tanahashi match, and I'm there for it. I think it'll be fucking great. Give a little bit of dynamic to this portion of the card. I'm there for it. I'm in. I love it. I think it's great. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah, I want Tanahashi to win. Not that I dislike Shingo. I think he's been an excellent champion, but he's beaten pretty much everyone there is to beat at this point, and I think Tanahashi would bring something new and interesting to that title. So, sticking with Shingo, Stu says, could Shingo win New Japan Cup or the G1?
I mean, I sat here for 2 years talking about Evil not winning the fucking heavyweight title ever, so anything's possible.
Yeah, it's different though, because Evil was a New Japan Dojo guy. He's relatively young, but Shingo is not. Shingo made his name in Dragon Gate, and he's close to 40 at this point. So that is that's the big obstacle, isn't it?
Cup, yes. G1, no. I can see him winning the Cup. Could you see him winning the New Japan Cup?
I'm not sure what purpose it serves. I think the New Japan Cup is there for to give the rub to guys who need it. Like a Zack in 2018 or that plucky youngster Okada in 2019.
Right, I was about to say.
Evil in 2020. Helped give Shibata a boost in 2017. It was Naito in 2016. So I think it would be strange for them to give that New Japan Cup to a guy who made his career elsewhere and who's, I don't know, is it fair to say his best years are behind him? Maybe that's unfair.
Zack made it elsewhere, Zack was a Noah guy.
That's true. Yeah, why not? Let's give the New Japan Cup. You've convinced me.
There you go.
All right.
That was tough.
Next match I'd like to talk about from night one was the fourth match, special singles match with Hiroshi Tanahashi defeating the Great Okan in 17 minutes 13 seconds with a high fly flow. The difference between Great Okan and Master Wato is not their in-ring talent. You watch this match, you just watch Okan's entrance, and he does that goofy Jiangshi, the hopping vampire. He does that walk to the ring. And then he stands there with his hands behind his back and he believes it. His confidence and his conviction in his character is the difference between success and failure. And in this match, he looked like a man who believed he belonged in that ring with Hiroshi Tanahashi at the Tokyo Dome. And there's nothing extraordinary about the way he wrestles, but just the snarling and growling, the menacing physical presence is what makes him a hit for me. He's like an old school territory heel mixed with an anime villain. And he's mixing it up with some cool moves as well, like the sliding knee bar takedown, the bicycle kick, the flatliner, the reverse brainbuster. He bumps really well too. He sold Tanahashi sling blade like death. I like the spot at the end with the chair. Tanahashi, he's too pure to use the chair. So this match was nothing groundbreaking, just a really solid performance and a fun match with a guy who looks like he belongs there.
Yeah. I don't know what people were expecting. In the sense of you're not going to get an epic Tanahashi versus X match at the Tokyo Dome with this. Like, that's not who this guy is. What you're looking for is just what you described. Confidence, looking like he belongs there. He wasn't a step behind. You're looking for the guy to be able to hang, not necessarily give you 5 stars. Right?
That's right. Yeah, that's what he's there for. It's like getting that ring to get used to being on that occasion and being in the Tokyo Dome in front of a large number of fans. You know, he wasn't plugged in there because they thought he was going to have a 5-star match.
Right. And even with that said, I thought the match was really good. I mean, we're not comparing it to fucking Okada and Ospreay. That's not fair. We're not comparing it to Cobb and Shingo. That's not fair. We're not comparing it to Ibushi and Jay White. That's not fair. But I think for what it needed to be done, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good match. Give me a spot where Okan lost a step or fucked up or looked lost. It didn't happen. Didn't happen at all. Like, again, the right guy won, number one, right? Tanahashi should beat a guy in his first Dome main event. 2, he didn't look out of place. 3, he had a performance that wasn't embarrassing. And it only helped the guy's career. Tanahashi wins, walks out, head held high. People cheer, hugs, virtual hugs all around. Okan kept pace, was there, looked competitive, looked strong at times, held his own, and out the door we went. What else did we want? What were we looking for? Now, Joel, I have not searched the interwebs for opinions on this match. What's the feedback that you're hearing? I mean, did people like the match? Did people like the performance? Were people okay? Were people fucking thumbing their nose at? What's the story?
On the whole, I think people enjoyed it. I think this is one of those matches where if people were on board with the character going into it, and you know the placement of this match and his opponent, then they were more likely to enjoy the match. I'm just going to try and find here on the old twitter.com and see what people were saying about it when I spoke about this match. So if you bear with me here, this is going to be
no problem.
Excellent podcasting here. Okay, so just looking at the replies. So just leave it to Tanahashi. Yeah, so positive. Someone saying Okan did better than Jay White in the same spot. He set up for stardom. Someone said it was good but not great. Well, I think that's fair. Yeah, right. Someone said it was okay, nothing special but not bad. Not bad. Someone said they didn't care for it. Someone else. Oh, Larry Dallas. You know Larry Dallas? He does the commentary for Dragon Gate. He says, first time seeing Okan, he's so good. And there's someone else saying, I'm still not sure if his gimmick works. So some people are still, the jury's out for them. But I would say most people are saying, yeah, this is good stuff.
Good. All right. And I'm on that same boat. I think everybody's smart cookies out there. Good job.
So Andrew says, thoughts on Great Okan's progress? I thought his commitment to character and traits really came through on Wrestle Kingdom, especially his walkout on that long ramp, and I'm enjoying his matches. Didn't seem at all fazed by the occasion or opponent. So yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I said. I totally agree with you, Andrew. I mean, I guess the question now, Damon, is what does Okan's 2021 look like? Because maybe he might be the man to retire one Hiroyoshi Tenzan, which looks like the direction they were going at New Year Dash. Because, you know, there's the connection there with the Mongolian chops and Okan's doing the TTD as well. So, yeah, what do you think is in store for Great Okan?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be that monster. And if you have any doubts, I mean, we talked about Dash at the opening of this show. You know, the highlight when it comes to, okay, what was the takeaway from this show, by and large, was Okan destroying everyone, Tenzan doing a fucking stretcher job. I mean, that's putting a little bit more flame under the fire for Okan, right? I mean, say what you will about Tenzan in 2021 and the physical condition that he's in. He's a fucking legend. And that legend was built on being a tough guy and a fucking bull and being a guy that doesn't fucking do many stretcher jobs. He did a stretcher job. I mean, that puts a little bit more fucking fire underneath Okan for sure.
Steven says, what do you think of the near future plans for each member of the Empire, seeing as they don't factor into title pictures? How about this? Let's have a Hiroyoshi Tenzan retirement match where we got Tenzan, Kojima, and, I don't know, let's say Yuji Nagata against Ospreay, Cobb, and Okan. What would you say to that?
I got no problem with that. I mean, I don't think anybody would complain about that. We're not going to put that as a main event of a fucking big show, but yeah.
Could main event one of those Korakuens.
Yeah.
But I just think there would be something fitting about Okan being the person to retire Tenzan. I think that would be really useful.
I think that's
to serve two purposes there.
Yeah, I mean, you're putting out, again, a legend in 2021. But, again, a reputation, that legend was built off of him being the toughest fucking guy in the locker room. So, that's saying something.
All right, let's try and more briefly get through the rest of the matches. What did you think of Kenta versus Kojima?
I liked it. I didn't think it was as epic as I kind of built it up in my head and expressed here on this show. I thought it was very good, but I would go in like 3-star range.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Right? There were moments that I really liked, like the DDT on the apron. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I think maybe it fell just slightly below my expectations. Still a really good match, but I don't think there was much that I'm going to remember years down the line. Okay, what about the tag title match? We had Gorillas of Destiny against Dangerous Tekkers, because I thought this was really good. I thought Zack was the star of this match, and just proving Dangerous Tekkers' ability to elevate their opponents. I'm not saying that they dragged Gorillas of Destiny to a good match here, but they certainly helped to lift them and bring up that the energy and the aggression of the match. So, what did you think of it?
Taichi being Ricky Morton, getting the heat. And then the hot tag to babyface Zack Sabre Jr., clearing house, rocking and rolling. And, that match picked up the minute Zack tagged in. That was the definition of a hot tag, which I found pretty funny. I like the idea of the fingers being used and getting stolen.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen Tama Tonga's been tweeting out photos of the fingers, going to bed, the fingers at breakfast. Today there was a photo of the fingers at the airport, and Taichi's quote tweeting that, saying, what do you do with my fingers, you bastard, or whatever.
That's good. I mean, that's fine. Look, as much as we kind of hand-wave GOD in matches and stuff like that, the company fucking gave those tag titles to that team 7 times. Now, that might speak more of the lack of quality in New Japan tags in recent years. 7 times. I mean, that's something. That's an impressive thing. I mean, they're a tag team that's breaking records. All right? And I don't have a problem if they continue on. I like the idea of these two factions fighting over both tag titles. I think it's fun.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to have an immediate rematch at New Beginning. I mean, part of me was wondering, putting them straight back on GOD, does that undo all the good work that was done with those tag belts in 2020? So I am a bit wary about it, but we'll see how it goes. I did enjoy Taichi backstage saying, only your family is happy to see you with those belts, which I thought was pretty harsh, but maybe accurate. I don't know. Okay, Andy says, I believe after Iizuka ended Friendship Tag, the Iron Finger was introduced as he became more violent and eventually mad. Do you think Taichi's obsession with the finger could lead him to a similar fate, possibly to the detriment of his role in Suzuki-gun, or even benefit him to soon lead Suzuki-gun?
You want him to turn into a guy who fucking rambles through the crowd?
On a leash. Taka Michinoku's got him on a leash.
Right. I don't want that. No, I'll keep the current version of Taichi. Thank you very much.
Did you get any sense from that match that they were building some discord between Taichi and Zack?
No, actually, just the opposite, really. No, were there spots in the match that I missed that where there was dissension?
There was a point where Zack had one of the Gorillas of Destiny boys on the top rope and was shouting at Taichi, "Get over here, Taichi, come on, over here, get here." And that went on for quite a while. I don't know if Taichi didn't hear him or couldn't understand what he was saying, but maybe that was accidental. I don't know. But that was one that stuck out in my mind.
No, I didn't. I mean, I thought that was more of a, to me anyway, it was more of a, I got this fucking plan in mind. Let's execute and get your ass over here and let's do it.
All right, the other tag title match, the junior tag belts with Suzuki and Kanemaru Desperado defending successfully against Master Wato and Ryusuke Taguchi. What did you think of this? Has it changed your opinion on Wato at all? He's got his snazzy new gear.
He look nice. He still needs help. I would like to see them as a tag team. And now the Tenzon's out of the picture. Maybe that can happen. I mean, I actually thought they were going to win the titles. I was kind of surprised at the fact that it didn't go that way. But I mean, did Wato do anything that would change your impression of him so far? Not me.
No, not really. I thought the match was good. I liked it a lot, but I wasn't thinking. It did not leave the same impression as Okan did. No.
This was not a match where I'm willing to say, okay, Wato gets the next level. Now, we're pretty much where we are with him.
Andrew says, is Bushi challenging Master Wato one of the most epic moments or the most epic moment in New Year's Dash history? So, yeah, that was an interesting choice to end the New Year Dash show. It looks like we're going to get a Wato versus Bushi singles match. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, dumpster fire. That's my thought. I mean, seriously, think of this. Bushi's going to be the guy that is going to need to keep this match together, right? When it falls apart, and it will. Ooh, this might be the car crash we're all waiting for here.
It's such a strange choice. I know we talked about it before, but who would have predicted that the climactic moment of New Year Dash was going to be Bushi pinning Wato and getting on the mic, Bushi delivering the victorious post-match promo. What is going on? We're
beginning 2021 just like we ended 2020. In every way of life, by the way.
All right, well, let's stick with the wackiness then and talk about the KOPW. So Toriano, of course, is the successful KOPW 2020. So KOPW 2021 started with the Rambo, which I thought was pretty fun. It had some good moments. It seemed to get all of the credible wrestlers out of the way first. Some memorable stuff here. There was Chase Owens doing the Shawn Michaels tribute act. There was Henare, who managed to eliminate, I think, who did he eliminate? Was it Nagata and Suzuki? I think. Yeah. Which I thought was very interesting. Hopefully it's a sign of things to come for Henare. And then at the end, I thought I liked the bit where Honma betrayed Makabe. That was good. And also, I was getting into the Young Lions at the end when I thought, maybe the Young Lions are going to manage to eliminate Bad Luck Fale. But of course, it wasn't to be. We ended up with Fale, Chase Owens, Bushi, and Toriano winning exactly as we predicted on the show. Someone just coming out, not managing to get in the ring, and they've already won, which I thought that was pretty funny. This is just the harmless fun, wasn't it?
I feel like if we made a list of the people in exact order of who we would want to see in that role, the last four, those four people would be absolutely at the bottom of the pile. like I don't think there's anybody else. I think of all the people that were eliminated. Is there anyone that you would not replace anyone that is in the four? Right. So you have the four. Now go through the rest of the list. You know what I mean? No one where I'd be like, nah.
I saw some people get really upset, I can't believe they put these four guys on Wrestle Kingdom and they didn't have anything for Ishii or Suzuki or Goto. I don't know. That doesn't really bother me. Would you have wanted to see this four-way match with Goto and Ishii and Suzuki and Nagata? I don't know.
Right over this trophy, right? Yeah. It's a little bit, you know what I mean? These guys, I think they've earned their spot in pro wrestling. They paid their dues enough to not be sitting in this fucking dumb Stupid.
God, I didn't even take his fucking t-shirt off in the round.
Half of them did it. Yeah. That's why I was in the Discord, and I was like, sell those t-shirts, boys. Yeah, they didn't even fucking take off their shirt. Fucking Yoshihashi didn't even take off the shirt. Think of that. Yoshi fucking Hashi is hand waving this shit. Yoshihashi said, fuck, I ain't bumping for you motherfuckers. Yoshihashi. Fucking KO. Get the fuck up the street.
Let's end the show there. I don't think we're going to top that.
Nope. Yeah,
okay.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's do it. Right. So, redcircle.com/shows/super-j-cast if you want to throw some money our way. Always appreciated. Discord link is in the show notes. And I think our Discord is getting a bit better, Damon. I know you have your moments with it where you're like, this is crap. And you're not wrong, but I don't know. I feel it's got better recently. I'm not really selling it, am I? If you want to join the Discord,
do not.
Link is in the show notes.
No. Let's do this. Here's what I would love to see. I would love to see more people involved in the chat. And I know that can be hard sometimes. That have good pro wrestling thoughts and want to discuss not memes, not fucking.
Yeah, not people trying to get over their own gimmick personalities. We're there to talk about wrestling and have a good time.
Yeah. We only have one rule: don't be a fucking asshole. That's really our. And trust me, sometimes that's a hard fucking rule to follow. But yeah, I mean that's what I would wish. And again, I know people. Well, never mind. I won't even say it. Like that's what I would wish. That's my 2021 wish. That's my 2021 wish.
Right. At Cobra Kawaii and ProWrestlingTees.com/Super J-Cast if you want to get one of our great t-shirts. I'm wearing my Scampy Club t-shirt as we speak. It is comfortable. It is durable. It is my favourite t-shirt at the moment. I really hope I get to see Scampy again. Made myself depressed now. Massive thanks as always to Editor Dan. You can find him on Twitter at LousyHero219. Subscribe to the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network for other great shows. Give us a 5-snake review on iTunes and some kind words, which helps us out a lot. Follow us on Twitter at SuperJcast. Thank you everyone for listening, and goodbye.